Welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors Online, a weekly webcast produced by the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. I'm your host, Tom Jensen. Every year, right before deer season, right about now, the Game and Fish Department fields a number of interesting questions about deer hunting. My guest this week is Bob Timian. Bob is the Chief Enforcement Officer for Game and Fish. Bob, first off, what licenses do I need to hunt deer?
Well, obviously you need your deer license.
If you get drawn in the lottery.
If you're lucky enough to get drawn, which I know personally people who haven't, like me, but you need to get your license. You have to have a deer license. Then also you need to have a general game and habitat license. That's for anybody who hunts. You need that for anything you hunt. And that's pretty much it.
We should remind them too, this far in front of deer season, that they need to find their license now, if they have one.
Yeah. Also, the caveat to that, if you are a gratis license holder, that's the only license you need.
All right. How much blaze orange do I have to wear to be legal while deer hunting in North Dakota?
You need to wear solid blaze orange of at least 400 square inches above the waist and a head covering of blaze orange.
Now, by solid blaze orange, that means that the camouflage style is not legal.
That's correct. Camouflage is not considered legal.
All right. One question that we field a lot here at Game and Fish: what are the legal shooting hours for deer hunting?
Okay. The legal shooting hours on opening day of deer season. The season starts at noon Bismarck time, and so that means like if you're in anywhere in the state, it's noon. When it's noon in Bismarck, the season opens. Now, if you're in Dickinson, which is on Mountain Time, that would be 11 o'clock in Dickinson, but it's noon Bismarck time. After opening day, it is 1/2 hour before sunrise to 1/2 hour after sunset.
Bob, one of the most frequent questions we get asked here at Game and Fish is about hunting and or driving on section lines.
Section lines by state law, and this isn't a Game and Fish law, it's just a general state law, that section lines, unless officially closed, are open to public ingress and egress. But that does not necessarily mean you can automatically hunt off of those lines. They still belong, in most cases, belong to the adjacent landowners, and if the land is posted, it's not open to hunting unless you have permission, but you can use them for ingress and egress.
Basically, just like driving on a normal county road, that if it's posted on either side of the road, you can't hunt it, you can't hunt the ditches, correct?
That's correct, unless the county should own the roadway, but as long as the property is still owned by a private landowner, he has a right to post it.
Can I drive off trail to retrieve down game on private property?
Yes, you're allowed to drive off trail to retrieve your game on private property, unless the property owner says you cannot be on it, cannot do that. He still can require that you not do that on his personal property.
All right, there are different regulations for public land?
Yes, different public land, there's different regulations, but there again, it's always back to the landowner. The state law allows it, but the particular landowner, in the case of, like, say, the National Grasslands, which is managed by the U.S. Forest Service, they do not allow off-trail for retrieval. So make sure if you're on somebody's property that you know what their particular rules are.
When can't I drive off trail?
Well, let's put it this way, Tom. When you're hunting big game, the only time you can drive off trail is to retrieve your game. And then that should be, and that is unless, if you're driving on private property, that the landowner says, no, I don't want you driving out there.
What are the rules, Bob, on retrieving a wounded animal from posted land?
Okay. Under state law, if you shoot an animal where you have a legal right to be, and it goes into somebody's posted property that you don't have permission, you are allowed to retrieve it. However, you cannot continue hunting. It's retrieval only. So that means no gun, no hunting. However, we do suggest, in the interest of sportsman landowner relations, that that you try to contact the person who posted the property prior to going in there and let him know that you wounded an animal and it went down in his property and you just want to retrieve it. You may be surprised. That person may give you permission to even hunt in there, but contact him first. And if the person is adamant that you do not go on his property to retrieve his game, contact the local game warden to see if we can help resolve the issue.
Can I use a bow to fill my gun tag, or can I use a gun to fill my bow tag?
During the open gun season, you can use a bow to fill your gun tag. However, you can never use a gun to fill your bow tag. If you have an archery tag, you can only use legal archery equipment to fill that tag.
There seems to be a little bit of confusion, and it comes up every year, Bob, about the rule on hunting within 440 yards of a building. For example, if I have permission to hunt near a roadway and there's a house across the street from the roadway, what are the rules?
Well, the rule is you cannot be within 440 yards of an occupied building on somebody else's property without their permission. So the way to think of it, Tom, is okay, if say you've got a piece of property and you don't post it, and your house is on the property and that you live in, and I come hunting out there. Well, you didn't post it, so I could go on your property. With the exception, if I'm on your property, even if you don't post it within 440 yards of your house, I have to have your permission to be there, whether you post it or not. Now, if I'm hunting on my property or a friend's property that is across the road from you, as long as I stay on their property, I have a right to hunt there. But there again, I cannot shoot toward your buildings or across the property line, because once I come off of that property, that permission that I got from that other landowner no longer exists.
All right, Bob, finally today, let's go over the process for tagging a harvested animal.
Once you have got your deer down, first thing you should do is immediately tag it. That's a relatively simple process. Make sure you notch the date that you harvested the animal on the tag. Then for a doe, you place the tag through a slit in the ear, and for a buck, you take the sticky backing off and place it around one of the antlers.
I know for many years people used to go around the tendon on the leg of a doe. They're not supposed to do that anymore?
Yeah, it's the ear on the doe, antler on the buck.
All right. The tag system changed a little bit over the course of the last few years, and now there are actually 3 pieces to the tag, right?
Yes, several years back we did change the tag at basically the request of sportsmen. And the tag consists of the license portion, which goes on your the license you're issued by the department, the paper copy, the tag, which goes on the animal itself, and what's called the carcass tag. The carcass tag portion remains with the meat. Say you take the head to a taxidermist, that's got the regular tag, which everybody's familiar with, on the antler. The carcass tag would then go with the meat to the butcher shop.
Most of all, Bob, common sense goes a long ways during deer season to staying safe, correct?
Stay safe, have a good hunt.
All right, thanks, Bob. Here are a few suggestions to help you get ready for the firearms deer season, which starts at noon on Friday, November 6th and ends on Sunday, November 22nd. First off, find your license now. Don't wait until the last minute. If you realize you can't find it now, you can still get a replacement license by contacting Game and Fish. Second, familiarize yourself with all the rules and regulations pertaining to the deer season. Read the proclamation and make sure you understand the do's and don'ts for hunting deer in North Dakota. Make sure you know how to properly tag your harvest if you're successful. There are proper ways to tag a doe and a different way to tag a buck. And also make sure you know the rules about transporting your deer, or if you're going to transport an animal for someone else. And most of all, this season, be safe. For Chief Warden Bob Timian and the rest of the staff here at North Dakota Game and Fish, thanks for joining us for Outdoors Online. We'll see you again next week.